Okay, everyone, how are my education giants doing today? I hope everyone is perfectly fine. All right, big up yourself, and welcome back to another video on this awesome channel. This is another social studies video, and as I have promised you that I will be calling out those top commenters, right? Those who have commented first on the videos, that I will be calling you out and give you a shout out. So here are my top 10 persons for the video. What was it again? The relationship, yes, between the Chinese, East Indians, Europeans, and the Africans. So here we go. We have Chrisana, yeah, Nikisha, O'Brien Byfield, Rochelle Vincent, Dawn Dixon, Khalees Martin, Hayden, Dimples, Tyler Beckford, and Courtney Eccleston. Very good, guys. Put your hands together for yourselves. Yes. So those were my top 10 persons to comment on the video. And so if you want to hear your name, if you want to get a shout out in our next video, run to be among our top 10, minimum top 10. So we're looking for 10 or more, and then you will get your shout out. All right, this is a quick video looking at the tensions among the groups. All right, so the East Indians, Chinese, and Africans had a lot of mistrust or distrust and dislike for each other. Due to these conditions, they were unable to understand each other, so it was difficult to trust, right? They could not trust each other because they just couldn't understand each other. We call this a language barrier. Next, there was a culture difference. So each group wanted to keep their culture alive to pass it on to their next generation. Another thing that caused them to not really trust each other was the fact that they were uneducated. And you know that education maketh a man. If you can't understand the person, if you're not educated enough to understand, then of course there must be misunderstanding. All right? And the next thing is that they felt threatened by the other group, right? So each group felt threatened by the other group, okay? And so that brought tension among the different groups, as in the Chinese, East Indians, Europeans, and the Africans. Let's look at the relationship among the East Indians and the Chinese. So the Indians and Chinese now, when they arrived on the plantation, they were looked down on by the Europeans, right? So I wanted to just play this video as you relax, as you just play and relax, and maybe let it put you to sleep and you wake and listen. So this one is not so much for you to be looking on any content on the screen, but just for you to have it play so it can register in your brain. All right, so again, the East Indians and Chinese, when they arrived on the plantations, they were looked down on by the Europeans and Africans, for they were now going to the job or to do those jobs that the ex-slaves had left, right? So at this time now, the Africans felt that they were better than right. The East Indians were discriminated by the Africans and Europeans because they called them coolie. So the Indians were called coolie, right? So listen and remember, a name for the Indians, somewhat like a nickname. You know, they have a nickname for you. So the Indians were called coolie. What were they called? Type it in the comment. They were called all right, which was a derogatory name to the Indians, meaning they never like it at all, right? They never liked the name coolie. Moreover, they were also treated badly. Chinese were called Hakka. Who like the name there? Chinese were called Hakka. What were the Indians called again? Coolie, and the Chinese were called Hakka. So who is the Coolie now? And who is the Hakka? So we have Coolie and we have Hakka. Alright, they could not leave the plantation without permission. So unlike us now, we just get up and walk about freely, these people had to have permission to leave the plantation. We're talking about the Coolies and the Hakkas, right? Hakka for the Chinese and Coolie for the Indians. Let's look at now the Europeans and the Africans. There were resentment, bitterness, or hatred on the part of the Africans towards the Europeans and the immigrants. Listen now, the Indians and Chinese were given wages for the work they did. They were given lands or money after their contracts were up if they choose, or if they really chose to if they chose to remain in the Caribbean. So once they decided, yeah, we're going to stay in the Caribbean, they were given lands or money. The Europeans were the superior group. Remember, we said that these people, the French, Dutch, and British, understand, they have formed themselves into an elite group, if you call it that, a wealthy class in society, and they kind of set themselves above everybody else. They control justice, they control law. They were just up there, right? So the Europeans were the superior group that had all the power and made all the laws. They had access to land and education and was able to vote. Hence, the Africans, Chinese, and Indians wanted to have a sense of belonging, as they wanted access to some of these privileges. And of course, you can't blame them, right? You want to vote, you want education too, right? You want to have access to land. Yes, so the Africans wanted access to these privileges that the others were benefiting from. Yes, let's now look at the Africans. Africans were also faced with discrimination. Yes, so not only were the Indians called Coolie and the Chinese called Hakka, but yeah man, there was a name for the Africans too, right? Everybody have a nickname. Alright, so they were called Negro or nigger. You didn't say, oh nigger you? Yeah man, that's a nickname for the African ethnic group. And again, the nickname for the Indian or Indians was Coolie, and that one for the Chinese was Hakka. Do you have a nickname? Do you have a nickname? Tell the truth. What is your nickname? Type your nickname in the chat. I have a nickname. I'm not going to type my nickname until I'm responding to your comments. So once you've put your nickname in the chat, when I'm giving you my shout out in the next video, I will tell you one of my nicknames, because I have many nicknames. So I will tell you one of my nicknames in the next video when I'm doing my shout outs. Alright? So if you have a nickname, or if you have several of them, just put one of them in the comment section. Alright. They, the Africans, were told that nothing black no good. And I'm sure you have heard that. So many Africans and black people today always feel bad about themselves because of this stereotype, and this is why so many people tend to bleach their skin. What a sad story. There was even a Chinese riot because they did not want relationship with the blacks. Black could not work in the banks or airports if they were not brown, because it was not acceptable. If you're not brown, you ever hear the saying, say, if you're black, turn back. If you're brown, stick around. Alright. So the blacks, they couldn't work in the bank any at all, nor the airports, if they were not brown, because it was not acceptable at all. And the Africans had a big You see with that. So they would not settle for that, right? For this kind of discrimination and segregation as a result of the color of their skin. So again, you nigger, yeah, you one that's listening to this, are you negro? Or whether you're coolie or haka, I want you to type in the comment, what's your nickname? Alright? What is your nickname? That's what I want you to put in the comment section, your nickname. And remember now, if you're black, stay back. If you're brown, stick around. I'm not telling you to do that. This is just what happened in those days. If they were not browned, if the Africans were not brown, they could not stick around. They could not work in the banks. They could not work in the airports. And so we have that kind of stereotype still plaguing our society, causing our young people to bleach their skin. Now, my African people, my education giants, and I'm going to move further to say my African giants, right? Please remember, be proud of your skin, right? Don't bleach. Be proud of your skin, right? Black is beauty. So be proud of your skin and remember, right, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Let not the tension remain among us. All right, we should have been long educated past that. All right, so again, remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, to share the video, and to also comment on the video. I would be shouting out from the first 10 to maybe 20 persons who comment on the video. And then guys, just share, like, comment, and be on the lookout for the next video. All right, so until then, we are education giants. Repeat with me. We are education giants, gaining grounds one step at a time. We are education giants, gaining grounds one step at a time. And with that we say, walk good, take your step. Remember, it's one step at a time. Decide on the step you're going to take and take that one good step as you gain ground. My education giants, and I am out.